Hey, what's up, everybody? Time for another game theory video. And if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share. Support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. I got asked a interesting question, or I guess just a question I've never thought about before. Basically, is Slimer Drive Rush slime? Can't even speak. Is it the same? Is Slimer Drive Rush, is it the same as Homing Dash in Dragon Ball FighterZ? Are they both just, showing the homogenization of games and blah, 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 blah? And, I've never actually correlated or thought of Slimer as Drive Rush as being the slame. I still can't speak the same. Slimer Slame. We're going to start calling it Slamer. The games are all slame. The games are all the slamer. The slames. Slame. Okay, we've made up a new word here today. Slamers are people that play all the same games. Slamers. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. Anyway, dude, just thinking about Slimer and Drive Rush and Homing Dash. Again, I've said this before just to talk about both. I don't think that necessarily Drive Rush is bad, right? Games have to progress. There always has to be something new in a video game, right? There has to be something, there needs to be a reason to play another product, right? The system is one of the only new things you can do. But like I said, the problem with Street Fighter 6 is it feels like everybody uses the system the same way. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if not every character, which again, it's so rare when it even happens with a character, if not every character when they're drive rushing or whatever, if not every character when they do their standing attack, some characters could duck it. Like, let's say, quotation marks, normal game, or what would be a normal game back in the day, that not every character, had attacks that hit you ducking. This is what made characters special. Some characters had better normals that you could not duck to evade, right? Well, now this character, when they do Slimer and Drive Rush, guess what? They can pressure you with Slimer and Drive Rush better than other characters. That would automatically make them more interesting, right? I've talked about just how stupid it is that jab hits everybody ducking. I've talked about Ken stand fierce. I'm like, dude, why the fuck does Ken have why you're gonna talking about the same shit all the goddamn fucking time? Why does Ken have a stand fierce that you can also cancel? I'm like, you're probably gonna be seeing this how much more than his stand roundhouse? And yeah, you do see a stand roundhouse very rarely, but compared to stand fierce, it's retarded. And you might be like, oh, well, if some people can do it, then they're automatically going to be able to use the system better than other people. Yeah, that's normal, dude, right? If some characters are using the system better than another character to such a varying degree, that means it is not homogenized. And what you would do then, you would make sure these characters have better attributes than other characters. This character does not have to use EX bar or Slimer or Drive Rush bar to actually have invincible dragon punches. Oh, so you mean Shoto's Ken can't just, Drive Rush, stand fierce. He can't just Drive Rush, stand jab. Ryu, all these they can't do that because they're not supposed to be poking characters like that. But guess what? Now they don't need to use EX bar to actually do invincible moves. You know what I mean? It's simple. Slimer sucks because it just shows the homogenization of games. It just feels like everyone is using the meter the same way. Generally, characters have the same game plan, right? Well, so to speak. Of course, there's different characters. There's, oh god, I even forgot I forgot his name. Fuck, dude. Shows you how much I watched the game. It's the old guy with psycho powers. Obviously he has a different, he has a different game plan, so to speak, than other characters, let's say. But God, I can't remember his name. Holy fuck. JP. Is it JP? Oh my god, I don't remember. Is it JP? Fuck. Again, like Dragon Ball FighterZ, people complaining about homing dash and that everyone uses it again as another. I think it just shows the homogenization of games. I don't think that homing dash was necessarily bad, right? Because I think it actually shows off the system of the game, the tug of war between fireballs, the tug of war between fireballs, homing dash, and reflect, all that kind of stuff. I think that's cool. But I think that Dragon Ball FighterZ, and like I said, I wouldn't even tone down homing dash. I think homing dash is fine the way it is, generally speaking, in Dragon Ball FighterZ. But it just showed that characters don't have a lot of different mix-ups, right, in the game. Solo, so to speak, right? Like homing dash in Dragon Ball FighterZ almost is a mix-up because you have to be on your toes in Dragon Ball FighterZ. Like say a game, like there are overheads, of course, in Dragon Ball FighterZ as well. But you could almost say that homing dash is a third mix-up, quotation marks, in the game. You have high-low that you have to watch out for, and then you have homing dash. But homing dash, you don't, let's say, well, of course you could block it, but you could say you also have the duck hard punch here automatically. That's what you do for that, right? But whatever the case, it's kind of like a homogenized mix-up of the game. But because everybody has the same mix-up of, am I going to homing dash? I have to wait, watch out for the guy. Is he going to homing dash? It feels homogenized. And what I've said something for Dragon Ball FighterZ I would have done right when the game came out. Or geez, I might have talked, I don't know if I talked about this in the beta. I might have talked about this in the beta as well. But I know I talked about it right when the game came out, at least. And I actually started fiddling with it. I think every character's medium auto combo, the second medium, should have been a unique normal that has some kind of versatile use that is part of your mix-up, whatever it might be, right? So not every character just feels like, oh, I have to wait, is he going to homing dash or not? During this like stagger pressure, whatever the fuck it is, right? And it's simple. You could say some characters, normally in Dragon Ball FighterZ, you don't have jump cancelable normals. Excuse me, unless you do a homing dash, right? Which is another reason why homing dash, I think, shouldn't be toned down, because you got to have a way to put the character into the air in the first place as well. But I would say some characters, what does their second hit of their medium auto combo do? Some characters, they can jump cancel it, even on block, even without sparking. Some characters, maybe, like I said, imagine it's a character like Vegito. You don't want Vegito to have a move that gets him in there. Say he does a beam sword slash where he does like a ninja dash and he slices the guy and he goes to the other side. Because you think about Vegito having these left-right mix-ups, guess what? He goes back and forth. So he gets the guy out of the corner, in out of the corner, whatever. Some characters, guess what? Maybe their second hit of the medium auto combo, it's a unreflectable move, let's say. You add some kind of versatile move that the characters don't have. And what that solves two problems. One, there's too much homogenization of normals in Dragon Ball FighterZ that every character just feels like they go forward, And then it also solves the problem of, guess what? This new normal is a versatile normal across the board. Some characters, it gives them a jumping, it lets them jump on the block. Some characters, it's a unreflectable move. Who knows? Some characters may have Vegito. He does a laser. Give Vegito another like laser beam sword, laser lightsaber sword, where the fuck it is. He slices, goes to the other side so he can get the guy out of the corner. Boom, boom. It's some kind of versatile normal that is a unique normal that doesn't just feel like a normal that is some random normal that is moving you forward, right? That would help unhomogenize the game, right? So I guess what I'm getting at there is if you're to think that Slimer is the same as homing dash in Dragon Ball FighterZ, you could say that they are, options to get into the guy. It is a universal game mechanic, right? But I think when you look, on games at a deeper level, once again, it goes to just Drive Rush in itself is not bad. Just Dragon Ball FighterZ, or Dragon Ball FighterZ, of course, Dragon Ball FighterZ is homogenized as well. But just homing dash in itself, being a homogenized thing, whatever, to get on the guy, just that idea is not bad. It's just that the game itself is homogenized, so it feels like everybody uses these tools the same way. Think about a character like, he even had this in Street Fighter 4. Why the fuck does Guile have the same overhead as Ryu? I mean, it's just like, oh, Guile, just so if you think about a game like fucking Street Fighter 6, oh, Guile, and that's what I said. I was worried about that. I'm like, God, I hope And right when I saw that, and I saw in Street Fighter 6, I saw Guile do drive rush into overhead and he can combo after like, oh, this makes Ryu so special because now he can combo after his overhead again. And then I'm like, please tell me Guile can't combo after his overhead. And then the video came out of him drive rushing overhead, with his drive rushing to an overhead slime or whatever. And he comboed after two. And I'm like, oh God. And I'm like, is this really what the game is going to be? Please tell me everyone's not going to use the system in the same way. Oh, I'm going to have my drivers to low. I'm going to, just, oh, this now puts my move because the game is so pre-planned with frame data that you're almost like you're forced to use the Slimer. Right? Because this is what puts you at the bench. And, oh, I can combo this. Oh, but you can come. We all come. It's retarded. Like I said, at least when I was looking at say Mark of the Wolves or City of the Wolves, right? And it has a special move to special move. At least inherently, special move to special move should be slightly more interesting than Slimer, because inherently a special move should hopefully be more special than a normal, especially when you have games where the normals are so homogenized, everyone has the same fucking normals, right? But again, I don't think necessarily that Street Fighter 6 Slimer's bad. The tug of war between, my meter versus your meter is a new thing. Well, I guess they said it's kind of in Under Night in Birth, I guess. And, that one, I've always said this, the very first BlazBlue had kind of a meter versus your meter thing, which I thought was kind of interesting in its own way as well. But Street Fighter 6, there's a bigger problem. I don't think Drive Rush just itself is the problem. You got to look deeper and be like, oh, it's actually because characters are so homogenized that we're using this the same way. Right? Just like Dragon Ball FighterZ is homing dash the problem, I think homing dash, it goes with the idea of fireballs, the tug of war with reflecting and homing dash, tug of war between fireballs, homing dash, reflecting, blah, blah, blah. That's interesting, right? You got to have a way to put the characters into the air. It goes with the combo system. It's just, but when you look at the game, you're like, oh man, we have such homogenized normals. We got to there's a deeper problem here, dude. Anyway, just answering that question because I hadn't actually thought of, is Slimer the same as homing dash? I guess it hadn't occurred to me, but if you like the videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel. If you want, I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.